Hey, what's up everybody? Landon with LMR.com. Wanted to quickly intro this video and let you know what you're about to watch. But this car here, it's been a background project for us and it took us a little while to complete, but we finally have it done. Now this is a long video, so y'all sit back, kick back, relax, and enjoy what you're about to watch. Hey, what's up people? Landon with LMR.com. We got our truck and our trailer loaded up and we are going to pick up Brandon Williams. He's getting his first Fox body. We'll get him on camera in just a second. We're not gonna tell you what he's getting. It's gonna be a surprise for when we get there. Tell us about it. You're getting your first Fox body. How do you feel? Don't tell us what you're getting because we got to surprise the people.
Feeling pretty good about it.
Okay, we got our winch. Brandon was carrying a battery. We don't know if it runs. We're gonna try to crank it over, but if it doesn't, always take a winch with you when you're buying a used car. I'm gonna go help Jared here, make sure everything is good to go. See you guys in just a few. In Texas, you see all sorts of things, but that is a goat in the back of a Volkswagen GTI.
And look, the dog's checking him out.
And the dog is checking the goat out. What more could you ask for going to get a Fox Mustang? A goat in the back of a Golf GTI. Bah. All right, folks, we just rolled up to the junkyard. We're gonna get in here, see where this car's at, and we'll bring you guys along for the ride. Bingo! All right, B, we made it, man. There it is.
There it is, right here.
All right, Brandon, what is it, 93?
93.
Black on black coupe?
Black on black coupe.
All right, this is a 4-cylinder car. There's a door tag for you folks. 6 of 93, late production 93. Infamous door pockets. It's first on the list, right?
Yeah, on that map pocket.
Heck yeah, in holes and the almighty 2.3 liter 4-cylinder. This is a rust-free car, folks. Where'd you find this thing?
Actually, it's my friend's junkyard. I came out here one day and saw it, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get a Fox body.
There you go. One of those, hey man, how much you want for that?
That's exactly what it was after I saw it.
And original paint, yeah, it's weathered for sure, but hey man, this is it, black on black coupe.
You wanna do nothing, Brandon?
There's fuel pump.
Yep. Brandon, wiggle that shifter, kind of pop it like that.
Well folks, typical used car, especially old cars, batteries on it, won't start. Here's the fuel pump priming, so we'll take a look at it, see if it's anything obvious. Yeah, the trigger wire was off the solenoid.
I was about to make one.
So, all right, B. Oh.
Sure to have gas in it. Gauge. There's nobody gas in the gauge. Okay.
All right, so we had to get the winch out. Car wouldn't start. Jared's piled in the winch. Brandon's driving the car on the trailer. All right, B. Car's loaded.
Loaded and ready to roll.
It's getting more and more official. We didn't want to spend a whole crap ton of time trying to get the car fired, so like I said, always bring a winch. We had our winch, bam, it's on the trailer, so we're gonna get to strapping it down and we're out of here. All right, here it comes. Almost out of here. Heading back to LMR with Brandon's 93 black on black coupe 4-cylinder car. You're doing a fine job, fine job. All right guys, car's out, we're on the street. I'm gonna stop it here. We'll see you guys back at LMR.
Now, slowly roll back. Roll her off.
Move on back.
Let off, you're good.
All right folks, got it off the trailer. About to roll it up in the warehouse. We'll get a few close-up shots of it. We'll let Brandon talk about future plans, but more importantly, what he's gonna do right now. Get the car right, get it cleaned up, and get it driving. Before we get it inside, man, the interior is pretty sharp on this car. White down, a vacuum, but as far as parts needing to be replaced, Brandon will assess that as he gets it clean and has time to go through it, as we showed you earlier. Fox body mat pockets. As far as mileage go, Brandon, 24,423, so I'm willing to bet that's 124,000. What's in there, Jared? It's all there. Jack's gone.
Jack's gone. Firestone.
We sell them though. Brandon, you got a lot of debris to clean out.
All debris.
I'm gonna go power wash down here. Got our strap out, and there's our old faithful. Right, Birdman? Old faithful.
How she feels? She's real smooth. What do you think? You need some shots in it? How's the torque? Got a lot of torque.
It's about the same.
Got it on a lift. Gonna go up, take a look at it. I mean, it's what you do when you buy a used car. You want to get it up in the air and take a look what you're working with. Show you some stuff. I mean, it's typical. Old vehicle, been sitting, you know, oil leaks. But it's a Texas car. There's absolutely no rust under this thing at all. Straighten the core support out a little bit. Driver's side pinch weld. There's a little snockered on. But for the most part, golly, you get a pressure washer under here, some all-purpose cleaner degreaser. I mean, you can really turn this thing around. There you go. That's the underside of Brandon's 93 black coupe. All right, people, we're gonna wrap this one up. You can see it right there behind me, Brandon's 93 black on black coupe. We got it here in the warehouse. We'll start assessing a few things. He'll start creating a list of what he's gonna do first. Brandon, here it is, man. It's here. How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good about it.
You excited?
Yes, sir, I am.
And everybody's telling you got a good one, and they're already asking to buy the darn thing. So it's crazy how that works. But I guess up first, you'll probably clean it up, you know, wipe it down, get all the interior straight.
Yeah, clean it up, try to get it running, and then see from there what all it needs. And after that, maybe a 5/0 swap, you know, who knows?
Hey, what's up, people? Welcome back for Brandon's 4-cylinder Fox body. Got it behind me here on the lift. We went and picked up the car from a local kind of junkyard salvage yard here in Waco, Texas. The car wouldn't start. We kind of checked over the obvious, but you know, we weren't gonna sit there all day trying to get the car running. Talked about having a winch on the trailer, all that good stuff. So we just winched it on the trailer and got it back to LMR. Did a kind of a soft, you know, look over with Brandon. Kind of talked about some preemptive plans on what he wanted to do. But more importantly, we knew that we kind of had to go over it mechanically first, kind of make sure everything was sound. You know, he could kind of drive the car around the parking lot and stuff like that before we really started the cleanup process. We're gonna talk about all the mechanicals for his little 4-cylinder coupe. Now, I'm not gonna say there's a million ways to do this, but there's a lot of ways to do this. Each individual that buys a car like this, you're going to have a little bit different mindset. A lot of us may just, you know, have an open checkbook, you know, no real budget in mind, and just start replacing everything we think that needs to be replaced. However, there's gonna be those of us that do have a budget. And that's what we're gonna do with Brandon's car. We're gonna try to spruce it up without spending just a ton of money. Some of the mechanicals, y'all may think, well, why didn't y'all replace that? Or you should have replaced this. It can pass for now. For example, you know, when we get to the engine bay, look over it, it's got a little bit of valve cover gasket leak on the back side of the valve cover. Nothing too major, you know, we can let that slide. Looks like maybe a rear main seal may be leaking. Real slow. That's something we can let slide and address at a later date. And really, just because we're doing it this way, you know, doesn't necessarily mean we're telling all of you to do it this way. We're just bringing you along for the ride and letting you know that, you know, we have attached a budget to this and we're just not going to replace everything. Let's go ahead and get into the car and take a look. Kind of showed y'all a little bit underneath the car in episode 1 when we first got it. Nothing has really changed. You know, we're gonna save a lot of the cleanup for the next part. Like I said, this one is just the mechanical portion. There's one of the leaks I was talking about. Real slow drip. You know, you can see some heavy moisture, some heavy buildup right there around that bolt. But like I said, nothing too crazy. If y'all remember before, there was a pretty significant transmission pan gasket leak. Hubbard actually had a spare transmission gasket. Hubbard likes to keep a lot of stuff around. He's one of those guys where we joke around here and say Hubbard always has it in stock. New old stock, transmission pan gasket, drop the pan, clean it up. As you can see, much improved in this area without all that leakage. Kind of cool to see some 4-cylinder specifics. You know, I've always get to see the 5-liter applications, but you can see kind of the crossover here, dual catalytic converter on the mid pipe, exits to a single tip on the driver's side, but it also had a unique transmission crossmember. Look at that cool dude. There's the mount on the driver's side frame rail. You switch it over here, you know, there's your notch or raised hump area there in the crossmember to clear the exhaust, and then there's your portion where it bolts to the passenger side frame rail. For the most part underneath here, I mean, all the lines look great. It was a Southern or Texas car pretty much its entire life. You can definitely see that looking at it from underneath here. Although the rear end's kind of crusty, but they all get that way when they sit. All right, so now let's switch gears to the fuel system. When we got it back, we had an idea why it wouldn't start. A common symptom is the S-hose that connects the fuel pump to the hanger assembly. Those deteriorate, they crack, they split, and you really don't know, obviously, that that's happening until you can drop the tank and inspect that. That was one of the first things Hubbard did. He dropped the tank, and that was the culprit. The S-hose was deteriorated, and basically it was just bleeding off fuel pressure and not allowing it to get all the way to the rail to start the engine. Got that fixed up, put a new fuel filter in it. You can see right there, kind of tough to see the new filter just because of the bracket is so large, but we do have a new fuel filter in it. Once Hubbard got the car running and idling, he kind of left it on the lift and put it in gear, you know, kind of just go through the gears and get some fluid moving through the transmission, you know, kind of bring the temperature up in the oil. We really just wanted to confirm all of that before we just start replacing a whole bunch of fluids. All right, so with the kind of the fuel system stuff covered, like I said, you know, there's still some obvious stuff that we need to do. You can see the bushings are dry rotted. Those are OEM rear shocks, OEM front struts. So that's stuff that's in the budget, you know, kind of the obvious stuff that you want to have to fix and replace when you do find a car similar to this. Go ahead and show you all the brake line bleeder screws. I think Hubbard replaced those. The OEM ones or the factory ones were all crusty. Had seen better days. Did a full brake bleed. Make sure all the brakes work. That's kind of mechanical 101. Oh, that's kind of another cool thing I saw. That's a plastic brake dust shield on the 4-cylinder applications. Kind of cool. Okay, let's take a look at the front brake hoses. Those are actually in really good shape. Kind of can see some oxidation and stuff on the caliper. You know, that's just cosmetic. Hubbard made sure all the brakes were functional and operational before it even left the building to drive it around the parking lot. But you see the engine mounts, you know, dry rotted. Just little small stuff like that that can kind of get by for now. And we can replace at a later date. All right, so that's kind of a rundown underneath the car. I'll drop it back down, kind of take a look at the engine bay, and then we'll get Brandon and talk about a few things he's looking forward to going forward. So here's the engine bay. Didn't really show too much of this other than, you know, what we were showing, trying to get it to run while we were at the junkyard. But we got a lot of cleanup to do, but it's gonna clean up pretty good. I mean, you know, some of the stuff, it oxidizes, it discolors over the years. So, you know, basically my old saying, cleaning the cars I've cleaned in all my years is do what you can, where you can with what you have. That's going to be definitely the theme for the engine bay and for the entire car. But here, I'll bump the light up a little bit and y'all can see the leak there at the back of the valve cover. It's a slow leak, nothing too crazy to even, you know, worry about and hassle with replacing, because you can see what you have to do and remove to get to it. And plus too, mechanical expertise is going to differ from each of us. You know, a lot of us watching this may think, oh, you know, that's a simple old job, but you know, there'll be the other side of that to where some of us will be like, man, that's kind of intimidating. So we're gonna let it slide for now. Luckily, fortunately, didn't have to do any coil packs, any spark plugs, nothing like that. Hubbard did check the oil, started the car up, of course, with some fresh gas. Also failed to mention that we cycled all the old sour smelling gas out, put some fresh 93 octane fuel in the tank before we started it up. And once Hubbard verified all that, you know, he was able to drive it around the parking lot, transmission shifted through the gears, etc. That's when he went ahead and changed the engine oil and filter. We also inspected the engine coolant, and that actually checked out good as well. I believe Hubbard, see in there, you can kind of see a little bit of orange hue to it. Probably need to go through and, you know, clean that by hooking up a hose and flushing the entire system. But again, no overheating problems, nothing like that. We're driving it around kind of our large parking lot and letting it get up to operating temperature by just idling. So of course we'll know more with the cooling system as Brandon kind of drives it around, you know, kind of puts it on its maiden voyage. You're never going to be able to locate and find everything, you know, with just the car sitting, you know, idling or just at first glance. The other thing I kind of wanted to point out, something that we dislike when cars come to the shop, is alarm system. And those never really ever get removed correctly. Hopefully one of these days can show, you know, the proper way to remove an alarm from one of these older Fox body Mustangs. All right, people, so there's kind of the rundown of the car. We did have to put some takeoff 10 holes and tires that we had laying here in the shop because the ones that were on Brandon's car whenever we pulled out of the junkyard, they really weren't roadworthy. These aren't too roadworthy either, but they are significantly better. For what Brandon's gonna do with the car right now, they'll work. I think Brandon may have some plans to replace the wheels and tires, but we'll get his 2 cents on that right now. There you go. It's all you. Your chariot awaits.
All me.
Brandon's gonna get in, start it up for the first time, and I'll hop in with him, and we'll give it a little cruise around the parking lot because no registration, no inspection just yet, no plates, so we wanna play by the rules. Hot dog.
Damn.
Fire right up, man.
Right up.
I think I still got you in neutral.
Yeah,
so
still in neutral.
if you just wanna throw that dude and drive and yep. Forward power steering pump. Well, what do you think so far?
Man, so I like it.
Heck yeah. We're just gonna take it around the parking lot here. Nothing too crazy, like I said, no registration, no inspection. Gonna play by the rules. So stop's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How about that? Look at that, Fox body brakes. They work great in stock form. Well, that's still subjective for most folks, but got that little 4-cylinder purr to it.
Okay, sounds pretty good. That's not bad for a little 4-cylinder.
I pointed out earlier too, talking about the shocks and struts, you know, some of the obvious things.
Yeah, definitely.
This here, you know, obviously mechanicals and showing Brandon taking around the parking lot for the first time.
Yeah, I can get used to this.
I'm interested to see get it roadworthy, or even more roadworthy than miles per gallon.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, it's still, I mean, even over these little speed bumps, I mean, it's still not terrible.
Not bad.
Man, the cleanup on this thing is going to make it so rewarding and so worthwhile.
Yeah, it's been sitting for a while, so it's definitely gonna need some.
I mean, we still got some Marlboros in the ashtray there, folks. How about that? Probably put a date on those things. I don't know. That's probably 2000s, late 90s Marlboros. Marlboros, however you have to say it. All right, folks, so we're out here in the wash bay. We've already gave the car its mechanical work. We've already looked it over. So now comes the good stuff, at least what I think. We're gonna pressure wash the underneath of the car. We're gonna clean the engine bay, and we're also gonna clean the exterior of the car. We'll do our best, you know, not to get a ton of water inside of the vehicle. You know, the door to bodies and stuff are kind of are worn. Water's gonna find its way in regardless. As far as the engine bay is concerned, of course, we'll be mindful of the coil packs. We'll be mindful of sensitive, We'll be mindful of sensitive electrical components, but for the most part, I've done this a lot of years and I've never ever really had a problem. We'll get everything set up. We'll use some cleaner degreasers, some brushes. We've got our really good pressure washer. You know, that'll help knock off a lot of the crud as well. From a clean freak aspect, this is kind of what I've been waiting for, really with Brandon's car. Should see some good transformation here, even though, you know, we still have to address some of the lights and seals and things like that. That's gonna come after we get everything cleaned up. And now as far as the extreme detailing, this is kind of one of those, I don't know, worst case scenarios. You know, this is something you typically don't see. Have you ever done anything or ever cleaned anything of this dirtiness, I guess you could say?
Not this bad, but I've done some detailing before, so this would be something new for me too. Biggest thing I've probably done, sidewalks, cars, no houses or anything like that, but you know, just regular pressure washing stuff. You know, some used cars and everything like that, but nothing that's been sitting, you know, for a amount of years. I guess we're gonna see how it goes and see what all comes off. Oh man, Lando is the detail king, so hey, it's always good to learn something.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate that. Now it's gonna be fun. I've done a few of these, but it seems like every single one, you always find something new with every little car. So we're excited and we're gonna get rolling. Okay, so we got our pump sprayer here. This is gonna save your forearm from having to do a whole bunch of this number. What I like to use, I just like always default to the ZEP citrus cleaner degreaser. So I just pour it in and then add water to it. It's probably got a fill line. Oh look, it does half a gallon. God dang. Half gallon, gallon and a half. I've probably got a quarter of a gallon in there, so I think that's gonna be great. We'll fill the rest of it up with water, and then that should give us a good pre-mix to soak all of our crud and dirt, oil, all that good stuff. Now what I probably should have done, because these cleaner degreasers foam up, they typically add water first,
And then put the
then the solution. Because doing this, I'm gonna get some foam and it's gonna rise, and I won't be able to add as much water, but I've got the flow turned down, so we're not foaming up too bad. As far as your health is concerned with chemicals, this being citrus based, we won't really have to worry too much. Now, if you are using something, you know, that's a little potent or a little more potent than this, yeah, it wouldn't hurt to have a respirator, like an N95, whatever the heck they call those, just to help protect you from fumes and things. I've never done it, so I guess long term I'll be a great case study. So when I'm 50 years old, when that rolls around and I'm all hacking at the lung or something, we'll know why. All this detailing over the years. We've got our mix ready. Oh, we're good.
Oh man.
Okay, we'll get this pumped up. We'll get our pressure washer on and lift the car up. Hang on, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I was gonna do this before, or we got to the engine bay portion. I'm gonna go ahead and yank this battery out. All right, got it. Here we go. Get my fan right here on my nozzle. There we go. All right, so we're probably gonna split this in half. Do the front section first, come back to the back section, because you don't want these cleaners or these degreasers to dry on the surface. Oh yeah, we about to get dirty. It's citrusy.
Citrusy.
I typically try to let that dwell as long as possible. You just don't want it to dry on there.
Okay.
And then typically what I have another heavy duty or mix ready to go, just if I need to further spot treat anything. I'm gonna spot treat oil pans, typical areas where where you see a lot of gunk and grime build up. Another areas like around your steering rack, there's usually some crud built up around there. Front of the oil pan. Yeah, that stuff's starting to get soft. You can feel it.
Let it penetrate.
And then typically too, if you come over here and watch, you can see where it's already started to do work. You can use the pressure out of your, like a spray bottle. You can see the dirt and, see how it's already starting to loosen it up.
Yep.
It's even the pressure from this is pushing it away. So, once you get 2,000 PSI, from your pressure washer, this stuff's just gonna melt off. Oh yeah, so satisfying. And for those of you at home, you're probably watching, must be nice to have a lift, but I have pressure washed plenty of cars on the ground. It's not fun by any stretch of the imagination, but it is satisfying and it is rewarding, whenever you get finished. All right, well, it's about to get noisy.
Yeah. I'll take off my glasses, so.
You can start anywhere, B, as you're working, that chemical's still dwelling.
Yeah.
So if you do get some overspray, that's gonna kind of dilute it down, lose a little bit of its bite, lose a little bit of its cleaning power, but typically, in my head, it may make sense to, kind of just start here and just work your way to the back.
Gotcha.
Bell housing cleaned up pretty good.
Yeah.
See if you can't get that a little closer. You're done. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're moving rearward on the car. We've done a pretty good job here at the front section. I think we're gonna split into 3 little portions or 3 little sections. We'll do front, kind of the middle, and then the rear. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this general area, the floor pan, transmission cross member. We'll go ahead and spray all this stuff down and give it some time to emulsify. We'll come and spray it, and then of course rinse and repeat. All right, on to the rear section now. Like I said, we're splitting this thing into thirds. Judging from the work we've done already, we'll probably have to come back and make a second pass, or especially over the front. It's cleaning up good. What do you think, Brandon?
Looking real good.
Make another round on the oily sections.
And I'll just work my way from back to the front and give it some time to soak.
Well, you're doing good when the stuff starts to be seen again. It's not under all the oil buildup and stuff like that.
All that crud. Went front to back. Got the nooks, the crannies, the angles, the best we can. Are you ever gonna get this 100%? No. You'll have to draw the line somewhere because you'll just be out here all day. But what we'll probably do now, we blast it off, the bulk of it in means of, I guess, touchless, you could say, just with chemical and just with pressured water. So now what we'll do, we'll probably work front to back again. We'll take our soft bristled brush and we'll just agitate as much of the flat, accessible areas that we can, re-rinse, then we'll call it on the undercarriage. But man, that oil pan, it's silver. Yeah, so yeah, you can see it now.
It's not black. Bell housing here for the transmission is nice and crisp. Speedometer cable, you can still see some isolated crud on it, but just because of its makeup, it kind of likes to hold on to some of that crud. But we can re-hit that again if we want and go from there. Bueno.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, we can sit here all day, but you got to draw the line somewhere. But I mean, you can see how bright it is under here now. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up underneath here. We'll lower it down and get moving on the engine bay. Like I said, you know, you can spend all day under here. You can nitpick, you know, keep going and keep going and keep going. But for what we have here, we're happy with this. And kind of as time goes on, you know, you can kind of do some spot cleaning here and there, and you can kind of satisfy your expectations. So what do you think, Brandon?
Yeah, it looks a whole lot better than what it did, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Start to see some of that brightness there on your floor pan and stuff. And
oh yeah.
no dirt at all. So. Well, sweet. We'll keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
All right, people, so continuing the fun, we've made our way to the engine bay. I'm gonna be careful here. I'm not gonna cover the alternator, I'm not gonna cover the coil packs. Probably hold the pressure washer up a good distance from any of the sensitive components and let it act as just kind of a rinse cycle if you must. Basically, I'm just gonna go to town, just like we did the undercarriage. You may see me move a few components or remove a few components, such as the battery tray. I also may remove underhood insulator. That's actually the original one, and it's in pretty good shape, so we don't run the risk of damaging it. As it's you know, still relatively decent condition for its age. Also, you may see here I got this little pole instead of the prop rod. This is just allowed me a little bit more working room just because I'm tall and stuff. But his radiator cap's missing, so I'm just gonna take a microfiber towel, kind of shove it down in there. But other than that, I'll start degreasing and start cleaning. Okay, got our pump spray here, ready to rock and roll. Get all this crud and muck sprayed down real nice. Give us some good time to dwell. We're doing this on a cold engine. This is not hot, it's not warm. Cold engine. Of course, I'm gonna make sure I get the back of the valve cover. Remember us talking about it last time, or when we were doing the maintenance portion, we had a leaky valve cover gasket, so some of that's kind of ran down here on top of the transmission, the bell housing area. So I'll make sure we'll get that area real good. Before I trip and fall, although that would be great on camera. And for those of you probably wondering, like, what the heck, you're spraying the solenoid and all that. When I'm done cleaning engine bays and I go to dry it off, I blow out all the sensitive components. And that's why I've never had an issue when doing this, because I stay very adamant about cleaning off or drying all the sensitive components. And then we'll take our heavier mix. This is where I'm gonna spray some of the oily areas, valve covers, stuff like that. All I'm doing here is kind of just hitting the high notes, the high areas before we rinse, just to help break up some of the muck and the crud. And just like the undercarriage, we'll probably have to make a few hits on the engine bay. All right, we'll go ahead and give it a rinse. So we're gonna hold this up high and just rinse. See, way out here, hardly any pressure. Still pressure, not as basic. You can check for any big debris, you know, leaves and things like that. All right, going for round 2 here with our citrus degreaser. Saw some pretty good improvements here, just off the first hit. So it's only gonna get better. Oh, look at this happiness. That's that foamy stuff. Maximum dwell. Really need it on this valve cover, 'cause it's crusty. I mean, it's all, I can just grab If I run my fingers, you can just see them. That was nasty. Rinse tube. Now you just, after 2 rounds, you're probably looking pretty good. And then the only other part we have left is to finagle that off, clean that, and we'll re-rinse. I know it's kind of backwards. You know, some people may start with this, let it rinse down, and then, you know, you don't have to kind of double work, but it doesn't matter. Well, don't do that. Okay, I'm gonna lay this flat on the ground. Let that dwell. Area of concern down here, your bin stickers. They're on the hood, fenders. But with using that citrus degreaser, we're really not harming that much at all. I mean, it's old, you know, but we're not adding any more damage. You'll cut yourself, so just be prepared. If you ain't bleeding, you ain't working. How about that? The drains are working good. TTN. Tell you what I'm about to do. I'm about to just pull this firewall. Okay, it's all crispy. I was just gonna break it up some so I could pressure wash behind it. Cause it's fucked up. Dropping shit. Thank you, sir. Parts don't last forever. Probably an original firewall to hood seal, but you can see just how brittle these are. All right, Brandon, add that to your list. Piece of it. Yep, spot a broken vacuum line. This is common. These things are so fragile. This should be an easy fix. We'll just run a little bit larger rubber vacuum hose connected to here. Brandon is by no means chasing a 100% factory restoration here. He just wants to enjoy driving the cars. A lot of cars out there like this. It's okay. You know, we'll fix it and move on. I think we're happy here in the engine bay. There's still some areas that can improve, but for the vast majority here, considering, I mean, this is considerably better than what we had. So we're gonna go ahead and lower the hood down and continue this theme here and get the exterior washed. Using the same citrus degreaser on the paintwork. I mean, this paint's shot. We're not going to induce any more damage than what's already there. Plus, too, this will help break down all that built-up crud from it sitting there baking in the sun And we'll get all this loosened up and blasted off before we do our contact wash. All right, now the fun part. The drain's clogged up. There it goes. Oh yeah, she's flowing now. What I should have done, I should have vacuumed all this out when it was dry.
But now you just got doo-doo.
So now I've just created a whole bunch of work for myself. But hey, it's all part of the fun. I'll have to pull that tail light for sure, because it's all behind there. I'm gonna blast that, watch out. It's thick. Tell you what I'm gonna do to help us here, free up some room in the jam. We're gonna have to clean all this up anyway. Oh, it's mud.
There, that way, scale it.
Sweetness.
It doesn't make any difference anymore. They still bring them up.
I think it's honeydew. A little watery, but it'll be okay. Oh, that's a good shot. All right, so typically best practice here, you wash top to bottom because the dirtiest areas of the car on the bottom. This car's been sitting for I don't know how long. We're not going to stick to the process here. We're just gonna get it clean because once we get it back inside and start assessing, you know, all the moldings and stuff, we're still gonna have to come back and do some cleanup. I mean, because really, right now, at this point, all you really got in it is some sweat equity. I mean, we've used nothing in chemicals. 20 bucks, maybe, call it 30. Oof. Paint is crunchy. Typically, we do 2 buckets, a rinse, and then a wash. But like I said, not sticking to the normal process here. Now, what I did not do, but we can get that on the, when we rinse, we can come in here and we can hit the, or we can just go ahead and do it at the bottoms of the jambs inside the door. Oh yeah, it's crunchy. Crunchy, crunchy. The old saying of if something could talk, these old cars would have quite the story.
Yeah.
See all the two grayish brown in the mitt. That trainer blast horn, both. And they are getting close if that's the blast horn. Yeah, dude, that's like mismatched. Oh, yeah, my buck's over here. Have to pull this license plate. Rack it off too, because it's crud behind it. Okay. Grab our razor blade. We'll strip this, whatever it is, off. A little lubrication. Depending on how long these have been on here. Yeah, they're scraping right off. Any adhesive that's left behind, we'll get it later. I said that one sounded cool, like I hadn't heard one.
Cool.
Now we're taking the horsepower off. Oh, this one's gonna be crunchy. Yeah, super crunchy. That's it. The wash session is done. I think real time, we've probably got just a shade over 4 hours, so not too bad. Granted, we still have some work to do, but in terms of time and money at this point, again, sweat equity is what we have in it the most. And I think, of course, if you count water and electricity, which is minimal, marginal, we probably use, let's just call it 30 bucks in chemicals. So, you know, at this point, haven't spent very much money. This has just been, to me, the fun part. I like this step. Don't get me wrong, I value the mechanical stuff, but it's good to see the car transform. I know Brandon is. You can hear it in his voice. You can see it in his. You can see it in his. You know, his charisma. You know, he's starting to see it. So once we continue on, we'll get it in the shop. You know, get it dried off, get all that good stuff done. You know, we'll continue to the next step. So. Go and get the battery back in it and we'll get inside. There you go, fired right up, no miss. All right, people, we got the car inside. We're gonna keep jamming on it. We're gonna shift gears, go to the interior. Like I said, no particular order here. Where we'll start We're gonna pull the seats out, pretty much kind of get a rough end vacuum job here. I won't chase perfection just yet, and then we'll kind of start blocking it up and sectioning it out. We'll clean the door panel, we'll clean the dash, console, you know, move to the other side of the car. Since the back seats are kind of easy to pull out, especially the seat bottom, you may pull it kind of clean underneath there as well. Clean the package tray off. Basically just work our way through. We may rent a like a hot water extractor. That way we can kind of help pull some of that crud and nastiness out of the carpets, out of the seats. They're inexpensive, you know, you can get them at your local grocery store, Home Depot, whatever. The car would benefit from that, so we'll probably go ahead and do that. But for the most part, like I said, we're just gonna spend a little bit of time on each individual section. We've got to replace an armrest pad here. We're gonna repair the ashtray hinge. Wouldn't be a Fox body if the ashtray didn't work. And then we are also going to replace the door-to-body weather strips, and that'll pretty much round us out here on the interior. So not gonna bore you to death with me talking. We're gonna jump in and get rolling. If I can even get the deep socket in here. Oh, wow. Oh, it's got the goofy clips in the back. The Phillips head screwdriver. I forgot. Thought it was just a push pan. Man, I got the longest screwdriver in the toolbox to do this. These are so goofy. There's more cigarettes to add to our collection. Fun, fun. Nasty, nasty. Come on. Treasure chest of seat gremlins. Dog it, why there's cigarettes and nastiness. There you go. Something definitely spilled here. There's a quarter. 78.
Same here as the Fox body.
78. How about that? Whew, I'm going to give me a mask. Oh yeah, she's 30. Well, they love their cigarettes. Whoever had this car loved them. I ain't finished smoking this one. God almighty.
What is it?
That's mold.
Light it.
No, there's mold on this.
You should light it. I bet it's good.
No, we gotta take this serious. It's mold. The hell is this? Oh, it's Santa Claus. Interesting take on Santa Claus there. And then here's our moldy. Probably a good time to point out, y'all run into this stuff, do your research on mold. I'm no expert on it. I just know that you want to wear, you know, the correct respiratory protection. Typically, if a car's real bad with mold, you'll see it on other interior pieces. I think we're pretty lucky here. You know, it's only on a few of the items that were underneath the seat. I'm still gonna put a mask on because once I start vacuuming this thing, the vacuum's gonna pull a lot of the dust and crud away from the carpet, away from, you know, the car, but you know, you'll still get some stuff floating around. Wear proper respiratory protection and gear. Since I touched this, I'm gonna go wash my hands. All right, here we go. Air protection, somewhat of some dust protection, and a vacuum. No telling how long this would take, but luckily for y'all just get to see it happen quicker than I get to do it, so enjoy. No. All right, people, good stopping point here. Man, I've been vacuuming for probably almost 45 minutes real time. It doesn't seem like it was that long, but anyways, this is original carpet. It's actually in fantastic shape, so I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole, pull the console out. I've already obviously pulled the seats, actually removed the carpet, pressure wash it, let it dry, and reinstall it. It's foul, it kind of smells, but the pile is good, it's nice. Yes, it has faded a little bit over the years. You can kind of tell the difference, like where the scuff plate was versus where it wasn't, kind of where the metal framing of the seat track was versus where it wasn't. But that dirt and that dust, it's kind of making the carpet or the black carpet look a little lighter. One, we're gonna get rid of the smell. Two, it's gonna clean it. Three, we don't have to put aftermarket carpet in it. Yes, you know, we're in the business to sell parts, but we also have an eye for detail, and this is one of those, especially because I think anybody that's been in the hobby for a while and has messed with aftermarket carpets, they don't fit like the factory carpets. While I have all that out, I'll start cleaning the dash area and stuff. Like I said, no real particular order. We'll have to pull the door panels off because Brandon opted for inner door belt weather strips. Plus, we have to replace the run channels anyway, and we need to strip the rest of the tent and clean the glass. So let's keep at it.
My name is Cameron Brady. I'm gonna be extracting Brandon's Fox Fox seats. They're in pretty good condition. I think a nice cleanup will do just fine with this extractor. This is the little green machine, and then basic carpet cleaner and the drill brush. Yeah, first we're just gonna spray, kind of soak it down a little bit. Don't want to oversaturate it. Just want to go kind of back and forth, kind of like if you were polishing. You don't want to overdo it and ruin your seats though. Just like that. And you can go back over again and spray it a little bit more just so it gets your cleaner. You also have a brush on your machine, so you don't have to go overboard with the drill brush if it's not that bad. But if it's real muddy, you kind of do have to go overboard. Just depends on the vehicle. And then just make kind of small passes. Get that solution mix in there. After I think it's typically extracted and dried a little bit, I'll fill my green machine with just water. I'll do a couple passes of just water so I know all that solutions mix is out of the upholstery, and then I can tell if it's still coming up brown or this green, this yellowish, then I need to go over with another pass of the drill brush and clean it once more. You're never gonna get it perfect, but you're gonna get it pretty damn clean. Not as much as coming out as earlier.
Right.
That's how you know that it's starting to get clean and it's all coming out. And you can still feel it. It's not soaking wet, but you can feel that it's damp. It's typically gonna be like that because it gets under into the foam, and you can work your brush in there. And then whenever you know it's kind of not like, you feel like you're not getting anything, then you can go ahead and if you need to, if it's necessary, do a second pass. But if you don't think it's necessary, then you can go ahead and do a water pass and get all that. Make sure you just get all that chemicals out of there. Once I get to about a stopping point, then I just go all the way back down. Make sure all the overspray from spraying my machine solution, and just go back down and get all the spots you may have missed. Just keep going back and forth and make sure you get everything good. Get in these crevices. A lot of water and dirt. Drying like to stay in there. And that's why I go over with the water pass, because once I go over with the water pass, it'll make sure I double check and get all that solution mix out. A lot of cases, if you're doing like carpet and stuff, you'll see that it's just about black. So yeah, typically this is about normal what you would get if you're extracting any carpet or upholstery or whatever the case may be. You can do a lot of things in the automotive industry, at least. That's about what you would expect. Black, dirty water. All right, now it's time for the water rinse. Now we're just gonna go spray our seats, get it damp, and we'll go ahead and start it. Yeah, see, that's why I always do a second pass of just water. Should run clear like that. That was one of our real bad spots right there. Never hesitate to do more than one pass of your solution mix and or drill brush. And we'll go this way. You can go different at all angles. That's just so you know that you got it all out. And that is all for this seat besides wiping the vinyl. Go ahead and dump what we just picked up. It's not very much. Yeah. And that's all from just the passenger seat. Wipe all of our spray off. Any multi-purpose cleaner will do the trick. And just like that, we'll go ahead and clean our other seats off, our driver and rear seats, just like we did here, and hopefully get a good as turnout as this one. We're cleaning up our carpet that we took out of Brandon's car. It's in good condition, so we're gonna spray it off with a pressure washer and some honeydew snow foam and clean it up real nice for him like we did with the seats. They turned out pretty good. We have it here up on jack stands, so we can keep this dew padding as dry as possible because you don't really want to get that wet. But yeah, here we go. We're gonna pressure wash our carpet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's damp. It's not soaking wet, so that idea really worked out real good. Yay for jacks. Yeah, that little detailed tip. If you're pressure washing your carpet with dew padding on it, this is one of the ways to go. Yeah, this will turn out real good. Now it's gonna weigh 200 pounds. Now that we got it all rinsed up and cleaned up, we're gonna go take it inside and extract all this soapy water out, and I'll use my solution mix as well and drill brush and clean up this carpet.
Okay, everybody, moving along with Brandon's 93 coupe here. We're kind of on the tail end of it, but still a little bit of work to do. Where I'm gonna start now, we've got all the interior out of the car, obviously, but I'm gonna go ahead and start removing some moldings from the car. Front glass moldings, the rear glass moldings, wiper arms, cowl vent, lower windshield trim, headlights, tail lights, antenna bezel. We'll go ahead and pull the door to bodies, outer mirrors, outer door belts, and then go ahead and pull the door panels because we got to clean some of the interior anyway, like wipe the dash down, deep clean the door panels, deep clean the interior rear quarter panels, of course the mat pocket situation. That is just going to be easier just to pull the door panel. And when we do that, that's going to allow us to drill the rivets out for the outer door handle. We can get that resprayed. There are some things such as outer door belt moldings. Yes, we could scuff all that old dead material off, but for us, we're just going to go ahead and spend a little bit of money and just put new outer door belts on the car. I've already kind of cheated a little bit here on the back trim of the rear glass because I kind of started back there, but these clips are kind of goofy that hold these trim pieces on. You got to be real careful not to necessarily pull upwards because you'll bend these. You just want to be real careful with those. They make a special tool to remove those. This little goofy thing here, kind of in the shape of a Y. It's kind of got these little hooks on the end. What those are designed to do, you kind of get up underneath the trim, in between the trim and the glass, and you just got to carefully work it until you kind of feel the clip. At that point, is hook it and then pull out to remove it from the stud that's on the actual body of the car. And you'll see that whenever we pull these off or get them removed from the car. And you can also try the other direction if you feel like that may be the better route. Oh, we almost got it. Okay, we've got that one loose. Now we'll work it down. All right, pull this wiper arm off. We're gonna respray the wiper arms. There's another area where we can save a little money. The arms themselves are inexpensive, but again, we can put that money towards something else. And over time, this drum head will get stuck and you gotta really work at it to get it off. You just wanna be careful prying too hard. You'll break this little plastic bezel down there. Dang, that thing is like holding on by. Hey, that one came off. Typically, I do not do this, set my tools on things, but we've got to paint it anyway, so. All right. Now, when I pull that cow panel off, y'all are gonna see a bunch of leaves and crusties down there. We'll wait to do a kind of a cleanup on all this debris that we'll find, because once we pull all these moldings off, we'll have to get in here with like a brush and a vacuum and really get these areas clean. Because y'all may notice when y'all find a car like this and you're pressure washing it and cleaning it, and we actually kind of touched base on that a little bit when we did clean this car, is just the amount of crud that comes out from these moldings. Oh yeah, get you a piece of that. Oh, that's dry rotted as heck. Yeah, look at that. Ooh, that's a lot of crud down in there. A lot of crud, holy cow. I'm scared to put my hand down. Something's living. The one thing that never ever can be salvaged on the factory glass trim is this plastic liner. There's a plastic liner on these things. Start going to pry and pull. It just gets all messed up. Like anything, it is what it is. All right, we'll continue getting that trim off. I think I feel some butyl. That's not the clip. Ow, you sharp. You mother. Boy. Wow, cracked the glass. Damn, sure as shit did.
You did?
I mean, it already had a big old rock chip right there. Right there.
Oh,
That sucks. Dang, man. That's irritating. God dang it, man. Well, there you go. Win some, you lose some. There's that clip right there. God bless. See, and that's what they do. They shoot up like that.
there you go.
What?
Just come on with it.
I think that glass may already been broken. We just added to it. I say we. I. Right?
Just keep trucking, dude. You got this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to really massage on this some. This is why everybody wants it. Or everybody wants new stuff. Because these are almost impossible not to bend. Since I got that side off, I'm just gonna reference kind of where those clips are at. God dang, that is crunchy. I think we got that one, yep. Oh. I'm gonna pull this off. Can't even remember what size this is, so I'll just grab an adjustable wrench. Antenna. How goofy that is. Like this thing doesn't even grab it. Oh, there we go. Ow, that was crunchy. Alright. But the way this is working, you come in here and you pull this clip out like that. That's where you get this little tool. And what a lot of people will do, they'll modify this to where it's a slimmer profile, so they can actually get it down in that notch and pull it away. Because that's what it's doing. It's keeping tension on the trim against the body of the car. So if you've ever wondered how that clip works, that's exactly how it works. Man, I really hate that it's like that. See if I can trick the system here. Aha! I'm gonna try to trick these clips. You got good paint. Obviously, you can't do this because you'll paint out. Let's take what we got. All right, so you can kind of see that little bit of bend. So we're gonna have to do our best to straighten that out. And then we'll wanna obviously fix that before we go to paint it. But man, this can be real tricky to try and fix. There's the front, but like I was telling you, I'll see all this dirt and crud. This is where you'll have to come in with your brush and your vacuum and really get all stuff cleaned up. For us, you know, in a perfect world, we'd love to put a new windshield in it. Yes, we kind of made some damage here. Just goes to show you gotta be real careful when you do this. But for starters, you can pull this plastic sheath out. Because dirty. I think they just put this in here as an additional liner. And it just helps with probably sealing. But as you can see, dirt's still gonna find its way in there. Probably sound as well. Okay, so, oh gosh, let me get my vacuum out. On standby. Okay, so we need to tweak this a little bit. Man, once you bend these things. Cool. And this is just a large panel removal tool. I'm just using it to create, to contact a wide surface area. That way I don't create a pressure point. And I'm just barely maneuvering this trim piece just to see if it's doing what I want it to do. So that's pretty close, way better than what it was. That got us back to about 98%. Subjective, but that's close. You can still barely feel a little divot, just barely. But by the time we scuff this and spray it, you won't ever know. You won't ever see it. Like I said, I've already cheated a little bit on this stuff. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use that same method I was doing on the front. I'm gonna cheat the system a little bit, just because our paint's not perfect. All I'm doing is just basically prying this forward enough to find that clip, and then I'm gently prying against the body. Not a lot of pressure, but just enough to dislodge it. And that's kind of when cars that don't have good paint, that's kind of where you could be a little rough around the edges with them. And typically once I work the top section and these side pieces, I usually move the top area, set it down so I don't risk damaging it. And you can pull your side ones off as well. You don't have to necessarily mark these. They're fairly evident of how they go back on. So just place them in your pile and we can clean them up and prep them here in a moment. Okay, this is where on these here, these have these little buttons. You gotta open your trunk to get them. Buttons that run the length of this lower glass. Right here, see a couple that are missing. And these are so dry rotted that if we were even probably attempt to get that off in one piece, we'll break it. But those are very inexpensive. So I'm probably just gonna go to town on them and not worry about being too particular. But this one here is actually missing the torsion rods. We'll have to makeshift something to hold that trunk up. All right, so the way this works, I mean, I barely touched this thing and it fell apart. But these have a groove in them, or a slot. I'll flip it over to the back side. You see this little slot right here? So they just push off. They just push off that little stud. See if we can cut this thing off. Yeah, it broke immediately. Another one of those stupid designs. But these things are cheap. All right, well that's all of them. Well, this one over here got a broken one on it. So we'll just slide that off. Now we got clips on the outsides. Yeah, right here at the corner. That's loose. I'm gonna go ahead and close this trunk. That way we've got, no I can't. I just gotta get it up higher. There we go. There's that last clip right here. Okay, this can come off in one piece. Okay, so we'll keep moving with taking trim stuff off. Add that to our trash pile. We put some of the interior pieces in here just because why not, right? But this is some stuff we'll have to clean up before we put back in. We're not going to spray any of this. By the time we start spraying some of this stuff, we'll have to buy several cans, and that's, you know, just going to cut into our make-believe budget that we built. And these panels will clean up good with some all-purpose cleaner. We'll clean it really good. We got quite a bit of stuff back here. Seat belts, hardware. Man, Animal or Black Widow gonna jump out after this. It keeps going. Battery tester. Yeah, that's old. Air compressor. All right, I'll just leave this right here because we're gonna have to pull that carpet out to clean it up anyway. Add that in a trash pile. Okay, this is where the snake comes out. No rust that I see from here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close this down, I think, because we can come back in here and do one good vacuum before we put that carpet back in there. That's that. Ugh. The door hinges are absolutely wore out on this car. So instead of fixing it, here's just some good old
shimmy up type stuff, some HVAC wrap that somebody just stuck up inside of the jam area here underneath the roof rail molding. I'm gonna pull this roof rail off. You got a Phillips head screw at the front right down here. It always sounds so crunchy. Okay. Of course, it bounces all the way underneath the dang car. I don't know, it's right here. All right, so these guys, you kind of just start pulling away because they've got butyl on them, the sealer. We'll clean up all that, and the new ones have it pre-applied. Door mirror come off. This is pretty straightforward. We got a little Phillips head screw holding the adjuster on. This is a 4-cylinder car. Most of these are manual mirrors. And the way you get this off, a set screw right here underneath the metal cover, and that set screw is what's holding the adjuster mechanism. I can never remember what that self-adjuster is. We'll just get the Allen keys and play guessing games. 30 seconds. Rings a bell. Oh, how about that? Oh, dang it. These little rubber caps gotta get pulled off, and they're tricky to get off. So I'm gonna adjust this where it's back in its spot. Usually these little dudes just roll right off. Oh, there we go. Can't remember what those are, 11/32. Dang. I guess the set screw in, I guess this thing. Probably a good idea to hold a magnet here once we get close. I think the way this thing just doesn't come tumbling down. We gotta go fish it out of the door. Goodness gracious. I think the stud's just turning now. Oh man. It's coming off no problem. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull this mirror where this nut bottoms out against the door, and that'll help us keep tension on it, and the stud will remove. Typically, yeah, we got it. Probably just hit a spot there with some rust and crusty, or it didn't like. There it won't come on. Oh, the stud is broke. Or not broke, the stud came out with, or out of the housing. Push this grommet through. Yeah, we'll have to get some vice grips on that. I'm not gonna get these too tight. I don't want to mess the threads up. I just want it tight enough just to hold it. And hopefully this nut backs off without it turning. Nope, it's turning. God dang. We'll just come back to that. Outer door belt molding, little Phillips head screw, rear edge of the door. Y'all seen us do these on video. The way they come off is there's inserts here in the door, riveted, and you can either slide it all the way back, or what you can also do is just slide it to a point and then pull up. Because on the factory ones, I think the aftermarket ones have it, but the factory ones have provisions where you can get them past the dowels here in the door. Now the outer door belts, they're riveted on. We have new one of these, just because over time, this rubber, like any rubber, especially the run channels, those of you that have been around Fox Mustangs know the run channels are absolute pain in the you-know-what, and these are nasty, cracked, dry rotted. So we'll have to replace the run channels as well. But same kind of thing happens with your outer door belts. They'll just dry rot, and then also too, the felt that these are lined with there where it contacts the glass, the dirt and debris collecting there down in the felt. And whenever you roll your window up and down, repetitively over time, that's where you start to see a lot of your scratches on the glass. But we won't be able to remove that outer door belt until we'll have to put power back to it and lower the glass, and then we can zip those off. I've done it before with the glass up, but It's just one of those things, you don't want to run the risk of messing anything up. All right, everybody, we've done a lot here in the past few days. For you, obviously, it just is several minutes. That we were taking the front and rear glass trim off, as well as the lower section of the trim here at the glass, the cowl panel, stuff like that. The reason why I was doing that was to further clean behind these trim pieces. I kind of worked a little backwards. I should have pulled all this prior to washing, but you know, sometimes you're just going through the motions and you got to backtrack a little bit, and that's exactly what we did. So much dirt and crud and debris when these things sit, and even if they don't sit, you know, even if they are drivers, you know, that dirt and dust and leaves and twigs and small just junk, you know, works its way down in there underneath this trim and here in the cowl area, and you just got to clean all that out. But we got it all clean, and whenever I did do that as well, I pulled the headlights and the tail lights just to kind of freshen up those areas as well, since we'll be installing new headlights and new tail light assemblies. Yeah, most tedious thing that we've recently done, or tedious job within all this work that we just did, was getting the old tint off of the back glass. That is an absolute nightmare. We kind of cheated a little bit. Fortunately enough for me, years ago, I bought a pretty high dollar steamer, and I brought that up here and used it, because the little cheap steamer that we had, you know, it was doing okay, but golly, we were gonna be here for a week, it seemed like, you know, if I didn't bring the big boy up here. But so we kind of cheated in that regard. If you're in a situation where you need to get old tint off, it may be beneficial to tap into your resources, see if you can, you know, you got a buddy with a good steamer, or, you know, even if you want to pay somebody local to try and get that off, because getting the glass clean and bright, we still got a little bit of work to do, but getting the glass clean, bright, and clear really sets the car up to look right whenever we're done, especially when you tie that in with new moldings, fresh painted frames and things that had the sim trim black. It really just starts to complement the entire car.
I think the Apple Box would be a better idea.
This provides some sort of. No, we got this, dude. This is great. Here. Shut that hood.
The thing's gonna like fall on you.
Hey, you just. Oh, I need the key.
I got it right here. Get your ass back in there.
Don't close it all the way.
Don't tell me what to do. You're not my dad. No.
Don't close it all the way.
He does it every time. He don't listen. He can't get right.
Christmas tree.
It's beautiful. Whack. Take out a leg.
Figure out what's chirping. Maybe it's gonna be a pulley on it or something. Probably a bell.
rinse this down good and blow it out.
You want water?
Yeah, we can turn it on. I think for leaks, but whatever.
This ain't the best, but.
Oh my God.
What? I'm trying to get what I can when I can, and I will do it.
Better pat this shit.
Sliders all there. Remember, dog. Everybody walks land before found.
I've only really landed watching it.
See?
Careful, because it's gonna leak inside. I mean, the other photos look okay.
What is it called?
Oh, dude. Oh, really?
There it is.
We have to show happiness. Hey, Brandon ain't even here to see all this fun shit.
No, he's gone.
And with all of the kind of the prepping and the painting, whenever we disassembled the interior as well as the trunk area, we found some rust in the spare tire well as the rust here on the driver's side floor pan. So we did have to address that. Luckily for us, it was just moderate surface rust, although there in the spare tire well, there was a section that it did eat through. It's really small, we're not gonna micromanage it, but we scuffed all the rust, hit it with the rust prep that we currently have on the website, followed the instructions, let it do its thing, Came back, we wiped off the residue.
You want a liberal amount?
It smells like
It's acid.
Is it? Is it sulfuric acid? We can melt bodies? Dude, it is potent. Hydrofluoric acid?
I don't know.
Because we're doing
take
floors?
3 deep breaths and see what happens.
Yeah. I need to get it in my eyes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just don't.
Yeah, dude, I was about to say, it is potent.
Woo!
How long do you let it sit?
20 to 30 minutes. Just follow the instructions.
Just get in the acid that
You're
way.
just somewhat neutralizing the acid.
That's gnarly though. Like you could see a big difference, so that's pretty cool.
The door frames and the outer door handles, I prepped with green Scotch-Brite and then just some warm water and some dish soap. I wiped them clean, and I wiped them with a prep spray, and then I masked everything before I painted.
You look ridiculous. Right.
Black E-coat won't match 100%, but wiped it with alcohol and then painted the floor pan area and the spare tire well with black E-coat. Fortunately enough for us, this is a black car, so the black E-coat actually blends really, really well with the surrounding area, and kind of if you're just glancing, you know, you can't really tell that the area was repaired. But if you get in here and you kind of study it, you know, you'll see some of the rough spots of where the rust was. So, and then from there, I pulled the side mirrors off. I actually had all this off before I cleaned it, but pulled the side mirrors, pulled the roof rail moldings, outer door belts moldings, outer door belt weather strips, as well as the door panels, because the inner door belt weather strips actually attached to the door panel. Did that for both sides. Pulled the door to bodies. I pulled the roof rail moldings. And of course, the reason for that was so we could paint the B-pillar section here, forward of the quarter window back trim black, and of course the upper door frame back to trim black. We masked the general area, we didn't have a lot of overspray before I painted the door frames and outer door handles, and the stuff actually turned out really good and just saved us a step really from having to replace door handles. You know, these are still factory, and if you were to kind of do this, you have to pay attention to how you mask this if you're leaving them on the car, just so you don't get a ton of overspray down in there behind the door cup area. But this turned out really nice. We had a really good day to paint. That SEM is what a lot of folks call it, trim black, laid down really nice here on the door frames, and then the B-pillar section of the car just forward of the quarter window. All of that was pretty easy to do. You know, I've done that, several times in the past. Really kind of where we stand, as obvious as it sounds, put it back together. Put the interior in it, outer door belts, new roof rails. We're gonna respray as much of the trim as possible. Front and rear glass trim, some of that stuff we'll respray. We are gonna spend a little bit of money to get some of the stuff new, just because when you try to refurbish it, it just doesn't look right. And the work we've done, a few $100 to us is worth it. So that's where we stand currently. Interior back in, prep and paint all of our exterior trim pieces. Kind of comb through some of the other areas, minute details, like I said, wheels, tires that Brandon's gonna pick out. I think he wants lowering springs, get the headlights, tail lights in and stuff like that. So enough of me yapping. We'll get back in here. I gotta clean the dash. That's really the last piece to address there in the interior. We'll come back to you with another update. All right, everybody, we're back. A much deserved update here on the black coupe, Brandon's car. We rolled the car back inside, and then with all the interior out except for the dash, steering wheel, obviously some of that stuff, I started attacking each individual section of the interior with some all-purpose cleaner and a brush. So door panels, interior rear quarter panels, the package tray, the scuff plates, the kick panels, center console, all of that stuff was itemized and really, really deep cleaned to get all the crud and grime off that's accumulated over all the years. And once we did that, I did have to go back and kind of spot hit a few areas just because they were so bad, but let it all dry, wipe them down again, to get them ready for like an interior protectant. And the product we chose, 303 aerospace protectant. I don't know if they still call it an aerospace protectant, but I think it's just 303 interior protectant. It's a product I've used for a lot of years. I like it. There's several products out there that you can use. So if you find yourself in this situation, deep cleaning your interior like we are here with this black coupe, you just got to pick which detail product you like best and which one you think looks the best. For me, the 303 interior protectant, for this car at least, you know, a newer car it won't be this way, but you know, these cars here that are dry, but the plastics are still in good enough condition that they'll soak up a protectant and a conditioner. You'll want to get this 303 product on pretty heavy. Let the plastic absorb it. Come back again, you know, maybe with a second pass and even a third pass, you know, depending on how dry the plastics are. And then once you give that time to cure and for the plastic to really absorb that product, you can come back with a dry microfiber towel. And I'm telling you, the finished look, y'all are going to see it or here on screen, but telling you the finished look is very OEM-like. It's got just that kind of satiny sheen that you know it had when it was new back in 1993. So got all the interior components dressed, and then it was time to reassemble. Put the package tray back, you know, kind of work from back to front. And then while I was doing that, you know, I was reusing all the OEM hardware. You know, I'd clean it up and put it back in there because this car had it all there, you know, so why go replace it if it doesn't really need to be replaced? And y'all know for as long as you watch the video that was the theme for this car. Prioritize sweat equity where we could. We absolutely had to replace it. And throughout the whole interior where I found that I needed to purchase parts, if you will, had to put a center console armrest pad in it. And then for the door panels, we just went ahead and went with matte pocket deletes because that was a cheaper option versus, you know, replacing the actual matte pocket itself. And this is subjective, but to me, I kind of like the matte pocket deletes a little bit more than I do like the matte pockets. Although, you know, the matte pockets would be technically period correct for the car because that's what they had. So it's just one of those things, just whatever floats your boat. And I wouldn't have been mad, you know, if we put matte pockets back in it. I think it would look great, but thinking in terms of, you know, kind of the dollar here, the deletes were the cheaper option. The only thing else that needed to be replaced in the interior was on the driver's side, of course, you know, that's the side that gets used the most, was the armrest pad. Other than that, once we get all the other pieces back together, the trim that's been resprayed, and of course the new sections that we're gonna have to put on the car just because you can't refinish them. Like the roof rail moldings and the outer door belt moldings, just the way they're constructed, it's just best to buy new, and that's what we're doing.
So we're gonna keep on keeping on. Got to put the run channel trims in, get the run channel weather strip on, then we can get the door panel on, followed by, you know, the outer door belt, weather strips, and the moldings, and then kind of work our way around the car. As far as wheels, we're still undecided on those. I know we've kind of mentioned it really in every little talking segment that we've done for this video. But I think we're leaning on silver 16-inch ponies. Kind of obviously period correct. The car would look good with them. I mean, not that it doesn't look good with the 10 holes. Again, wheels, definitely one of those things that is subjective, very opinionated, but to us, silver 16-inch ponies with all the fresh trim, the strip tint, we're gonna, you know, kind of buff, correct the paint. It's gonna be right. So we're gonna keep on keeping on, and then we near the finish line, we'll get Brandon back in here, talk about it, and probably go for a little ride. So, all right, everybody, so too bad we didn't get my reaction for this, but I think y'all could probably know how it went. I thought I misplaced the keys. Well, I put an ignition cylinder in the car. That was a whole journey in itself. And as I was putting stuff back together, the column trim to be exact, I dropped one of the screws. It rolled towards the inboard side underneath the seat, in between the seat and the console. I reach my hand underneath the seat. I don't find the screw first. I find the gosh darn keys. I cannot make this up. So here they are. I reached my hand back in there again, and there was the screw. So we looked high and low on this car. Y'all saw me get back here in the trunk and look. They were just positioned so perfectly underneath the seat track and the slider mechanism that we didn't see them. You know, we didn't think to just run our hand underneath there or anything like that. So if you think you may have misplaced your keys, why do I have this piece of tape on me? No, let's keep going. It's funny stuff, dude. Funny stuff. Anyways, I had a piece of tape on my chest because I was doing something, so y'all can disregard that. But if you think you misplaced your keys, double and triple check. Granted, I know we double and triple check. Maybe you need to quadruple check. So here they are. We found them. Back to my point of trying to open the trunk lid if you have a Cooper convertible. As you saw, there's some cross bracing on the car. And then for a convertible, you're gonna have your well liner and stuff. But there's still a point of access. You'll need to stack extensions or take a long extension with either a wobble socket or a swivel adapter in the appropriate socket, and you can loosen the bolts on the striker, and then you could open the trunk lid to get access. So luckily for me, I don't have to go around and replace the door cylinders or the trunk cylinder because I found the keys. So woohoo! We got the interior dialed in. Man, I'm telling y'all, this is a great place to be. This is subjective, but I'm calling this an 8+ out of 10. I mean, you could really probably 8.5, even a 9 out of 10, given the age of the car, how many OEM parts that we reused. Really just, it turned out good. Deep cleaned all the panels, thoroughly conditioned them. I didn't have to do any painting. If you find yourself in this scenario, the LMR interior paint's relatively cheap. So, you know, if you did have to paint some things or kind of blend some areas, you can. Fortunately enough for us, we did not have to do that. The only things that we had to budget for and purchase in the interior was a new center console armrest pad and a new driver's side armrest pad. That is it. Everything else in the interior is OEM. It was refurbished and reused. I guess you could kind of count the door to body as an interior part since it's not technically on the outside until you open the door. I would budget for new door to bodies regardless. Most every car needs them, especially like this one that was still somewhat all intact and was untouched. Other areas that you'll have to replace regardless, you have to replace roof rail moldings, you have to replace run channel weather strips, outer door belt molding. Sometimes you can get away with reusing outer door belt weather strips, but the rubber portion could be dry rotted. The felt lining on the inside of the weather strip could also be worn down, which could cause the window to squeak because it's, you know, glass on rubber. So we budgeted for those as well. And it just ties the car together. We painted the door frame trim black, the OEM door mirror was painted black, and then the OEM door handle was painted black. And you can see all that just, you know, ties together. No tint on the glass and fresh glass. All that just, yeah, it just works. I like it, I like it, I like it. So on the topic of moldings, the glass moldings, were scuffed, spray trim black. These were in really, really good shape. Nobody had ever taken these off before. I've pulled a few of these moldings over my years, so I kind of know the dance you have to do. Although I did get the glass one time. It's gonna happen, we're human. As careful as we can be, you still run the risk of potentially damaging something. I did not bend, I did not dent any of the moldings, got them back on with new clips. Wiper arms were scuffed and sprayed. They're kind of pitted in a little bit. They're wiper arms, they're metal. You know, you gotta get up close to them to see some of the pitting. New wiper blades, just because you can't refurbish those because the dang blade gets all crusty. Repainted the cow vent grill. Repainted the antenna bezel, and that is a brand new 5.0 Resto antenna. We could have scuffed and sprayed the original antenna, but you know, I don't think I've ever installed a normal length, factory length antenna. So I was like, well, what better car to do that on than this one? You got the lengthy mast there, for the antenna. Did a little bit of paint correction, buffing, pick your terminology. I kind of sorted the edges first, where moldings were gonna go, because I didn't want to have to come back and tape these off. That was kind of the first area I did. Kind of gonna rob some terminology from the painting world of kind of cutting in the car, if you will. And that's kind of what I did on those areas. Once all the moldings and stuff got back on, then that's when I really went to town with a pretty heavy cutting pad and some heavy compound. Cut it pretty hard just to get the majority of the you know, the dead clear coat and oxidation off. Came back, polished it, and then after that applied just a cleaner wax. That's what we had in the cabinet. Nothing crazy. Kind of helped rejuvenate the paint a little bit further, and then I believe that cleaner wax had like a polymer sealant or something like that in it. So the paint's pretty glossy and pretty smooth. It turned out good. You know, we had talked about doing the wipe-on clear coat, but after about really, I think I had 2 hours in this, 2 hours. You know, I wasn't chasing perfection. This wasn't a 10/10 paint correction type of deal. It was, hey, let's just get gloss from what we have, and there you go. You know, it's on the tops and stuff, it's crusty. It is, but you know, it's shiny crust, if that's a thing. So as we were working with all that, went ahead and budgeted for new taillights, as well as new headlights, just because y'all remember seeing the original stuff. The headlights are always way too far gone to try to repurpose. We were going to repurpose one tail light because the other one was busted up pretty good. So we thought, what the heck, you know, let's just spend a little bit of coin and put new tail light assemblies in it. And I'm glad we did, because kind of complementing the clear, fresh glass, the fresh trim, some glossy paint, you get some glossy lenses back here with the taillights, and man, it's sweet. Oh, let's talk about the wheels. We were gonna leave what we had on there, just put some new tires that we had, I think, laying around in the shop. The 10 holes were fine, but any car, especially when you go this far with it, in terms of your moldings, weather strips, your glass, and you know, getting some gloss in your paint, you need to complement that with a fresh wheel. These are 16x7 ponies that we had on another car here in the shop. Long story short, that car got new wheels. These were on the shelf. We thought, hey, this would really clean this car up a lot. So that's what we did. I'm not saying a fresh set of 10 holes wouldn't look good either, because they would. We just used the opportunity that we had and repurposed some wheels that were sitting, and the ponies really tie this car together. God dang, that thing looks really good. And I know what you're probably gonna ask, well, how many hours do you have in the car? I don't know. When we do stuff like this, I think it's always fun. At first, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna log every hour that I possibly can on this car. Well, I think y'all all know as well as I do. But once you jump in the rabbit hole and you really get going on these things, those logging of hours just goes whew, right out the window. I know from a length of time, we kind of carried this one a little far. You know, some of that early footage of Brandon getting the car back here and us working on it over the time we did, you know, I think it was 3 or so years. A little long in the tooth, but hey, we're finished. We got it done. There's a lot of stuff we got to juggle around here, you know, parts, different cars, just different video topics. Y'all know the drill. We're gonna go get Brandon. We're gonna see what he thinks, and I think he's gonna be pretty pumped. And maybe a little birdie flew in here and told me that it's possible that he may have bought another car while he was helping us fix up this car. So we'll get the story on that here momentarily. 2 and 5. You recording? Shit, I don't know why I said that. Take 2, or 3, whatever we're at. Alrighty, we got Brandon from the bill of material area. He's gonna see the car. You haven't seen it in a while, have you?
Oh, I ain't seen it in actually a long time.
So here you go. It's back together.
Looks like a brand new car now.
It's got some gloss to the paint.
Nice and shiny. Damn, you guys did a number on this bad boy here.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was telling them. I was like, they're probably gonna wonder, well, how many hours you got in this thing? We don't ever keep track of that stuff. But take a look at that interior. I think that's the sweet spot.
Damn. Yeah, this is a whole lot better in condition than when it first got here.
Oh yeah, it's been a long journey, Brandon.
It has.
We've done a lot of cleaning, done a lot of elbow grease, and it's funny because, like I mentioned previously, we're car people. And usually when we get projects, our minds are still turning that there's this other car that we think we may have to go and get. And during all this fixing that we've been doing, Brandon actually has a little story he's gonna share with us on something that kind of surfaced, fell in his lap, and he took the opportunity and pulled the trigger. So Brandon, tell us a little bit about what you did while we were fixing this one.
Well, actually I came across another worker here that had a 2013 Cali Special that needed some work, but he was willing to sell. So I went and looked at it. I told myself if I was gonna get a Coyote car, the S197 would be the one that I would get, and that's what it was. So went and looked at it, and the next week I bought it.
There you go. So I think all of you watching can know exactly how that feels. You have the car that at that time, like, this is the one. I never, you remember saying, I've never had a Fox body. I'd like to experience a Fox body. And I think you did. You drove it a little bit, helped us clean it up, get it right, kind of went through that journey, put some sweat equity into it. But all along the way, that one other car may surface, and that's exactly what it did for Brandon. And during this project, that's what he did. He went out, and like you said, he bought that California Special. It's a nice car, by the way. You'll probably see it on a dyno video in the very near future, and who knows, maybe an install video. But y'all may remember, whenever we got the car back from the junkyard, everybody was already trying to buy this car. And it's funny how it all works. Full circle moment. Whenever Brandon did buy his California Special, LMR, the company, took the opportunity to buy this car. We did not have a coupe in our fleet, let alone a 4-cylinder car that we could see a lot of value in the future of, possibly doing a period correct 5.0 swap, or use modern components to make that swap happen, such as like a Terminator X control pack, a Blueprint engine. And who knows, the sky is definitely the limit. So I think it's only right to close this out, that we get in and we go for a drive, just because the last time Brandon drove the car, it was around the parking lot, and Scott Hubbard kind of got it roadworthy, checked the brakes, checked the fluids, fresh oil, the whole 9 yards. So I think we can kind of get it out. We're not gonna go on the interstate by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we can get it around town, get it on some of the roads, and go for a drive. Didn't end up doing any of the shocks and struts. Didn't really want to mess with any of that, especially since the turn of events that Brandon bought his California Special. This is now, LMR's car. We want to kind of save some of that. So if we have to come to another video or, research and development for a part, we have that ability to take some stock parts off and put something else on. So we're going to rearrange this studio. We'll hop in this old car and we'll go for a ride. So here we are, B. I guess this is the official maiden voyage.
Yes, sir.
So how does it feel knowing that was your car, now it's not your car? Is there any bit of regret?
There's no regret. I mean, it couldn't have been a better place for it to go to, so.
Yeah, it kind of all was meant to be, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like the Fox bodies, or any Mustang for that matter, finds their way, once an employee gets them, it seems like they always find their way into LMR's ownership. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, I'm glad it went to you guys, though.
Yeah, us too. We needed a coupe. And what better one to get than this one? Dang, I turned that AC on, a whole bunch of crud came out of the vents, but because that was when when I had all the interior out, I had the air compressor in here.
Oh,
I was just blowing. All the crud and crap, and some of it probably snuck down behind the dash in a defrost area and whatnot, but we can wipe it back down.
But it's a good looking car though. I mean, it came out damn good.
I agree. I mean, this interior's sharp, good place to be. A few little fixes left, fix the AC, get the vents blowing right. I need to get a radio back in it. Just some easy stuff. I think Chris Tiger, he was telling you about the key dilemma.
Yeah.
How I thought I lost them, and then I didn't lose them, and I had to sit there and put an ignition cylinder in it.
Yeah.
But cool thing is we got a video. We got a video out of that of how to remove and replace your ignition cylinder if you've lost your keys, or if the ignition cylinder is damaged in some type of way.
See, so it all worked out anyway.
Yep. Got busy.
I know this road just got real busy.
So I know early on when you had first acquired the car, you kind of were virtual building, doing some dreaming. You saw yourself potentially down the road doing like a 5.0 swap, period correct, using like Ford control, or using a Ford computer, Ford wiring harness, all that stuff. But really, once it got to this state, if you had still owning it, you would have just drove the car.
Yeah, I just kept it the way it is and drove it.
Yeah, we can really feel that sun now.
Yeah, it's beaming right now.
We were complimenting the fresh, clear glass with no tint. Well, there's always a drawback to that. As good and as clean as it looks, on a sunny day, you feel it. Is this the first Fox body you've driven? I think I may have asked you that when you first bought the car.
Yeah,
so this is the first Fox body. Wow, okay. Night and day from a 2013 GT Coyote car.
Definitely a night and day difference. 4-cylinder versus V8. I mean,
Yeah, kind of like we were joking about before we got rolling. More comfortable, has Bluetooth. It's just the whole 9 yards, which I get it. You can add Bluetooth to these cars.
Yeah.
And through like aftermarket radios and stuff like that. But that's what makes the newer stuff, I guess, so more luxurious, if you will.
Yeah.
You kind of get all that in one complete package without having to add anything to it. But on the same hand, I can appreciate, it's crazy to call this stuff old school, but I guess we can go ahead and call it old school because it is.
Yeah, it is.
Appreciate some of the old stuff, and especially this car, being that most of it's still intact. All the original stuff still there, because I didn't have to replace hardly anything in the interior. The center console armrest pad, and then the armrest pad over there is the only thing I touched, or only thing I had to replace in the interior. Everything else was just cleaned and conditioned. Do you see yourself down the road? I know we're car guys. Our ideas are always, ping in all directions. Do you see yourself maybe getting another Fox body if the opportunity presents itself, kind of like this one did?
Yeah, if the opportunity presents itself and the price is right, I'll definitely get another Fox body.
Yeah.
But a 5.0 this time.
There you go. Yeah, in the grand scheme, looking at it full circle, and there's always so many ways to look at stuff. You see this car, you're like, okay, 4-cylinder, I can clean it up, drive it a little bit, and do what you were going to do. Do a 5.0 swap at some point down the road. But then, on the other thought, you're like, man, it sure would be a heck of a lot easier if I just went and got the car with it already done.
Yeah. Save a lot of time and money.
Yeah. Cool thing about that, you get to learn a lot.
That's true.
You get to see which parts interchange, see what they did differently on 4-cylinder cars versus the V8 cars. Even as kind of the wrenching I've done on Fox bodies, I've never done that 4-cylinder to V8 conversion. You can just do the loop around on Bagby.
Gotcha.
See if we can get this thing up to speed. How's our vitals looking over there? We got good volts, coolant temp. I don't think it's even reading.
Yeah, coolant temp's not.
This thing ain't gonna overheat.
But everything else seems like it's doing pretty good.
Shifting good. Brakes are working good. Hubbard did his thing, looking everything over from a mechanical standpoint. I know he replaced the fuel pump, or did he just replace the S-hose? I don't know. It's been too dang long ago, but he did one or the other or both. Fuel pump, S-hose.
I think it was just the S-hose. I think.
Was it? Yeah, it may have been. That's usually a common problem on most Fox. Really, any Fox body, 4-cylinder V8.
Man, it drives good.
It does drive good. We're at what? About to be 55 mile an hour?
Yeah.
That's if the speedometer is accurate, which I'm sure it is. We need to dyno this car. I think I have it on the list. You see, we dynoed Jared's 4-cylinder car, but I think that was a 5-speed. It was a 5-speed. And then we dynoed that little Gia, a 79 4-cylinder. And that thing turned like 86 horsepower or less. I can't remember. It was something crazy. 86 horsepower.
That's crazy.
I get, you're only moving, sub 3,000 pounds, but still, when we sit here and think about modern power, you know, like your Coyote car, 420 at the flywheel, you're like, gosh, dang. But back then, I guess this is what people knew. You know, the 86 horsepower, this was it. You know, this was big time.
It was enough.
You know, economy car.
Yeah.
It's crazy to say Mustang and economy in the same sentence. My, how times have changed.
They have changed a lot.
And kind of backtracking a little bit, of course, you kind of this car fell into your lap because your friend had owned the kind of the salvage or junkyard, and he called you, or you went out there and you found and saw the car. Is that how it?
Yeah, he called me and told me he had it. And I went out there and looked at it to see what kind of a shape it was in. And since I work where I work, I figured everything else that was replaceable I could get. So.
Yeah, no brainer. And what's crazy, you know, like I was just talking about a few of the interior components and, you know, kind of telling you about some of the exterior stuff. We didn't really have to do a whole heck of a lot to the car. So once you factor in what you paid for it, and then kind of maybe what we would have spent from a retail perspective on parts, you know, we're around the, you know, still under $3,000.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, what? No way, because you did get a good deal on the car. We won't disclose that. We won't disclose that information because every once in a while there is a good deal that comes across.
Yeah. And this one just happened to fall on my lap.
Yeah. Definitely. It's a good car. I mean, it was, you know, kind of right place, right time, you know, because who knows, if you wouldn't have went out there that day, you know, the butterfly effect, what would have happened to it?
They would have crushed it.
They would have crushed it. Golly.
But now they know I'm always looking for them, so if they come across anything else, they'll give me a call.
That's good. As long as they don't go researching the prices, because then, we can keep getting good deals on foxbody Mustangs. Yeah, we definitely got to get this AC sorted. Woo. This is Texas in July at the time we're doing this little drive and finishing up this video. And it's 90, probably 5 degrees outside, and here in the car with the windows up, so all of you can hear us. It gets pretty toasty.
It's pretty toasty now.
You got that right, but this car, it's driving good.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. This car, it hadn't gone this far since who knows, you know when. You know, the early to mid 2000s. I don't even know.
Probably maybe longer than that. Really, I don't. It was sitting for a while, and so
I can't even remember the miles on this thing. I can't even see that. 24432. So 124,000, because I know it's rolled over.
Oh yeah.
I mean, from a driver quality car, I mean, you can see yourself commuting every day, you know, in this rig as a daily driver.
Oh yeah, definitely. The way gas prices are now.
Absolutely.
Definitely be a good daily driver.
All right, people. Well, we're rolling back down the main road here where we're from, here just outside of Waco, Texas. We're going to close this one out. Hope y'all enjoyed it. It's kind of crazy how it all plays out. You know, Brandon was excited to get the car. He was excited while he had it, and then like any car guy, your focus shifts and you find something else that you want, and you go buy it. And sometimes you got to let the other thing that you originally liked, you know, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, Brandon let it go to LMR. It's going to be, you know, it has a good home. We don't ever get rid of anything. We try to hoard as many of them as we can, and just for all the stuff we do. So y'all let us know what you think down below in the comments. We love chatting with you down there. You know, stay tuned for the car. I'm sure it'll make its appearance again on some type of video, and I'm sure at some point along the lines in the future we'll have Brandon's California special on video as well. So any last things you want to add, B, before we sign off?
Not that I can think of.
All right, folks, as always, if you find value in what we do, like the video, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel. And then until we catch you in the next one, for all things Foxbody, keep it right here with the Real Enthusiasts, LMR.com. Cool. How about that?
Good.
It's like we've done it before.